suspiciously, after, we delivered this petition, management began offering more translation services. So obviously Amazon and these companies, they won't ever admit that anything that we did, anything that our workers did to fight for their own interests.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is Fatu. Griffin is about to connect now. He apologized for being a couple of minutes late.
Oh, yeah. No worries. Griffin said that you'd be joining as well. I can't see the Zoom screen from here, so. But I really appreciate you taking the time to join, and I really am inspired by the work that y'all are doing at Amazon in Kentucky. Can you talk to us about how you got involved in the union campaign and what made you want to be a part of it?
So last year, first of all, I'm going to talk about a little bit of my background so you can understand why this union is important to me. 12 years ago, I started helping the new immigrant that come to this area, Kentucky, Northern Kentucky and Cincinnati area, because I realized 24 years ago when I came here, I didn't have that help, that guidance. So I started helping them applying for job, housing, anything that is related to something that will help them integrate in the Northern Kentucky area. So it was easy. It was hard the first time, and then it became a little bit easy because I have a job as a recruiter, so it was easy for me to give them a job. I still work as a recruiter. However, I am working in the hospital recruiting nurses. So most of my people that I help, I'm not able to hire them as a nurse because they're looking for a warehouse job. So I still was volunteering on my weekend and day off to take them to look for a job. And suddenly, Amazon stopped. I cannot hire them. They don't speak English in the new hub. They don't speak English. So a lot of my people that used to work to the Amazon that they closed, they got fired because they of language barrier. So I was working and I went and talked to HR, and they literally put on the application, you have to speak English. They talked to me, say, we're trying to get them in, so just be patient for me. After 2-3 months, I'm waiting, and I go there every day and talk to them. And one day I was taking this girl to apply, and they refused to hire her. So I was so frustrated. So I was driving back home, and in the street, I saw the union. I was not familiar with union at all. So I stopped. I'm like, what you guys do for Amazon? Because I was hoping they can help me, with the Amazon, because I thought they were the HR and stuff. And the guy explained that, we are fighting for Amazon to do translation, to do this. Do you work at Amazon? I say, I don't work for Amazon, but I can, back you out with people who work for Amazon, because what you're fighting, that's what I'm fighting in the back, but I'm alone. So I would like to join you guys so we can fight as a group. So that's when I got the decision to reach out to all the community leadership that I know, the African community, the mosque, the stores, because most people know me because the work I do behind the scene. So I reach out to them, and all of them was happy to join us. So we created a WhatsApp group to give them information. A lot of the immigrant people who were scared, most of them are still scared, but they still signing the card. They still doing the job behind the scene. They might not be, they might still scared to have an interview like this, or put their face out there, but they are behind us 100%, which is amazing, which they was not before. So the community working together make that happen.
That's, that's such a fantastic, that's so great that you mentioned that, because we just had another conversation in the first half of the program about, the importance of community relationships in Tennessee in some of their organizing that they've been doing. And so actually having a little bit more fidelity about, on your position, a little bit more understanding. You don't actually work for Amazon, but you are, you're in, a community organization, particularly organizing around supporting the immigrant community there in Northern Kentucky and the Cincinnati area. And so once you saw that the union was organizing at Amazon in Kentucky, you were able to get on board and really support the union campaign in a way that they were, there was a bit of a, maybe a language barrier or a culture barrier or whatever it was. The union wasn't able to reach this community before you came on in support of the campaign. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's Griffin. Are you the one that she talked to originally?
No, I don't believe so. But that's the importance of building the profile of this campaign. I think we, a few months back, 4, 5, 6 months back, we really started developing out a program to draw our immigrant coworkers into this work, and we ran a translation petition to demand that Amazon provide ESL classes for any coworkers that want to improve their English proficiency, to provide translation in HR and any management, any disciplinary conversation. And, we met Fatu around that time because, Fatu agreed with the importance to fight for these issues, and her experience working as a recruiter for several agencies in the area is somebody who's, very tied in to the issues that immigrant workers face every day on the job. And, I think, in the last 6 months, we've been able to build a really dynamic campaign that, I think a lot of times, especially for recent arrivals to the U.S., you are used to walking past a lot of things in your day-to-day life. And, I think a lot of people maybe just thought, like, I don't know what they're doing, but maybe it's not for me. Like most things I run past. And I think we've put in the work to really demonstrate that this union's for everybody that works here, that we're going to fight together for basic things that we need, like a $30 an hour wage, make sure that, we have translation on the job, that people know they're being disciplined or even fired. In many cases, people don't know what's happening. The company doesn't, like they do even at some other facilities in the region, they don't provide the translation services that people need. And, so from day one, we've had all our material translated in English, French, Spanish, and, having a strong community ally like Fatu, who's connected to hundreds and hundreds of Amazon workers and their families in the area, really helps us reach those workers and their families, in addition to Asok and others that have been involved in the organizing inside the warehouse.
We had somebody from y'all's campaign on in early December, and they said that at that time y'all had reached 1,000 cards signed. Do you have any updates on that?
Yeah, I mean, at this stage, we've collected well over 1,000 cards at KCVG. Our strength at this moment isn't really based on, there's a 30% hurdle for the unit in order to trigger an NLRB election. But I think, the best way to explain it is that last year we proved that we were a union by fighting around our demands, by taking workplace action, to demand Amazon drop retaliatory, attacks on our union. And now we're taking a step, launching a survey weeks ago, and now a vote on our independent union constitution. Over 500 workers in just the last couple of weeks indicated that, they agree that, workers can afford to pay $30 a month, in union dues to fight for a decent contract, to fight for 30 and other things, that, our union should have the right to recall elected leadership, that our membership's the highest decision-making body in the union. And now, we're going through with that ratification vote. We're aiming to have 1,000 coworkers sign on to that. And that's a real structure test for the kind of democratic union that we want to build. And then from there, and this helps us cut through Amazon's lies. Some union bureaucrat somewhere is going to decide everything for you. And you might pay $100 in dues a day or a week or a year. We never know, all these lies that they put forward. And so to have, over a quarter of the workforce say, wait, I voted on what the due should be.
Right.
You're not going to come here and tell me what is going on. It was a real structure test for us, and it prepares us to file for an NLRB election and to ultimately take workplace action to fight this company, because we know from Staten Island and other examples that Amazon's not going to sit down at the bargaining table. We're going to have to drag them there every step of the way.
Y'all are organizing with ALU. When you're talking about the new constitution, is this for ALU nationwide, or is this for ALU in Kentucky?
Yeah, we've obviously inspired by the example that Amazon Labor Union set in New York, with their victory, their historic victory, and raising the $30 an hour demand. That's something that we took up and that the Amazon Teamsters, and other organizing efforts are taking up. I think that's very positive, that's becoming a broad demand on the labor movement. And we're forming our independent union at KCVG. We believe that, KCVG workers should have the right to, draft our constitution and to vote on it. And that's what we're doing now.
Okay, so this is an independent, even of ALU. This is y'all's constitution,
right? And we've had, many ALU activists from New York out here working alongside us, offering lessons that they've learned. But yeah, this is a campaign for KCVG, and we're drawing up our own constitution and bylaws so that we can give our coworkers a voice at KCVG and fight for what we need.
I think that's really important, the fact that y'all are working to build a democratic union and organize and act like a union before there's even an election, before, the government or the boss has recognized you per se, really fighting for your coworkers and the members and building those structures now. And I really hope that is going to pay off in the long term in terms of, because what you said already, there's a gigantic struggle there in terms of actually getting them to the table, getting a contract secured, right? So I'm inspired to hear the work that y'all are doing and really appreciate that happening here in the South in particular.
So what are some, you mentioned Griffin and maybe Fatu, you can take this. Griffin mentioned that over the last year that y'all have really been asserting yourselves as a union, even before you get a contract, fighting for fighting for changes. What are some of the things that y'all have been able to win in Kentucky so far?
So, when Amazon come in, talking to co-worker and letting them know that the union do not exist, so they outside party, they're not part of Amazon. So we demonstrate by giving them the choice about to sign to the Constitution and give them choice to vote for what they want to be in the Constitution. It demonstrates workers that they have a voice, that whatever Amazon was telling them is wrong. So that's a big win, because people was thinking that we're outsider, we cannot, we show them that you guys are the union. Fatu, who's helping outside, cannot vote. You guys who's working there vote. So you guys are Amazon, because if you guys don't work today, Amazon do not exist. So right. By doing this union, unionizing is unionizing Amazon, not an outside party. So that's a big one to my view, because when we send that, it demonstrates all the lies that Amazon was telling them.
Great. Yeah,
and I think you asked, about what we've won in the last year as well, and I think it's a small victory, but before we raised the issue of translation and organized around it, in just a few weeks, we had over 1,000 of our coworkers sign on to that, many of whom maybe didn't sign a union card yet, right? So it was a way to convince, especially our immigrant coworkers, that the union was going to fight for them, that we would fight against discrimination, we would fight for these services. And, suspiciously, after, we delivered this petition back in, I think, July, management began offering more translation services, but it's funny, they put up slides and posters around the facility that said, we've offered translation services since last year in October when we rolled out this program. And So obviously Amazon and these companies, they won't ever admit that, anything that we did, anything that our workers did to fight for their own interest, would ever come of their own doing, so they've said that they've offered some of these services and they have moved in a better direction. But it's nothing like what's actually needed here. So I would count that as a small victory. And, in fighting Amazon's egregious, appeals process, we have been able to win a couple of our coworkers' jobs back. Obviously putting pressure on, some of these retaliatory actions. The labor board helps that as well. But yeah, we've been fighting them and not claiming any easy victories, but, fighting as hard as we can to stop these things. So.
Then in the last couple of months, they did hire French-speaking supervisor and a manager. That never happened there before.
Yeah.
There are Amazon workers in our area. There's an Amazon facility here in Huntsville. Where can people reach y'all if they're an Amazon worker and they're interested in starting a campaign in their facility?
Yeah, we're available on all social media platforms. I would say go to unionizeamazonkcvg.org to reach us on there. All our socials, come off of there too. And, if you're somebody that's fired up about what's happening in the labor movement, maybe you're not an Amazon worker yourself, but you support what we do, go to unionizeamazonkcvg.org/donate. And yeah, consider donating $30 to fight for $30 an hour at KCVG. It goes a long way. We're an independent grassroots effort. And, having those extra donations coming in means a jobs defense campaign. It means, having money to keep the lights on at our office by the facility. And every small contribution goes a long way. So appreciate it.
Griffin, Fatu, thank you so much for taking the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all keep up the good fight.
Hey, 5 seconds, just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
We've got a caller on the line from a 352 area code. Let's bring him or her on the line. 352 area code, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello?
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, guys, can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. How you guys doing today? It's Brandon Hill. I've called in before.
Great. Yeah, from Amazon in Kentucky at the same plant that we were just talking to those other folks from. Yeah, they had we were in a. How was it that we got connected with? Was that in the Chris Townsend? One of our Chris Townsend threads?
I'm sure it was. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, so it was a roundabout connection that it just sort of landed in our lap here at the last minute. Was glad to hear some of the struggle there happening in Kentucky. And yeah, curious to know, Brandon, what you think and what you have to report on there.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say thank you. Thank you guys again for reporting on this because, we get a little bit of media coverage, but not nearly enough, I think. And we've gotten a little bit recently from some local channels, which is nice. But yeah, well, if I could just speak to what you guys were just talking about, the sort of anti-union efforts going on down there with the, states trying to discourage folks from unionizing within the auto worker industry. I think that's just a shame. And, I think I spoke about it a little bit before when I called in before, but I used to live in Florida for years, like over 10 years ago. And, I experienced the same thing. I would, try to work jobs. A lot of jobs I would try to get were, not unionized. And I was sitting there competing with jobs with people that were like, 45, 55 years old, people who didn't have any sort of retirement or 401ks or anything like that. And there was just nothing to really, support or help these people. So we need unionized jobs and industries, especially in the South.
Right. And everywhere, right? Everywhere and in every industry. And there's nothing saying that like service industry jobs can't be good union jobs, right? Auto jobs are good union jobs in certain areas because we organized and made them that way, right? They used to really suck and they still do suck in the non-union places, right? So yeah, I'm with you, Brandon.
Right, exactly. And you know, I just read about what I guess out in California, they have like a service industry workers union they're trying to form out there. Mm-hmm. Like that's great. That is great. Yeah. But if I could just, I guess from that lead into what's going on here at with our campaign at Amazon KCBG. So we are in the middle of a very strong anti-union campaign being led by Amazon now. I believe last time I called in with you guys and really had a chance to talk, it felt like it really hadn't swung as strongly as it has now. But yeah, we're in the thick of it, and they're spending a lot of money on like posters and these captive audience meetings, which I've been to over 3 now.
Wow.
And yeah, and you folks, I know you just talked to Griffin there, and he's one of the lead organizers of this campaign, and they just fired him. And they claimed it was for another reason, but I think it's pretty obvious that it's, for the organizing.
Right.
But yeah, so, and it's really picking up. In fact, I've had 2 people I work with, like right with alongside me in the same department, get fired recently. Wow. One of them was an active organizer in this campaign, and Amazon found, they can't fire him for that, I believe. And so they found another reason to get rid of this person. And then I had another associate, a friend of mine who I work with, who, signed a card, wore the buttons. They weren't actively an active organizer, but, they were involved enough for Amazon to, see them as a target, I guess.
Right.
Yeah, so that's going on, but it's not discouraging us. I feel like if anything, this is just reinforcing our resolve here. Because I have seen, I've seen a lot of support come out for this thing over the past year that we've been doing this. And I feel like, I haven't had a chance to see this whole interview you guys just did, but I'm sure they talked about how we're in the process of writing our Constitution. We're in the process of voting on that now. And I was involved. I was on the Constitution Committee there, helping to write this thing out. And we're gonna see if folks approve of the rough draft here. And then if they don't, we're gonna go back to square one. But yeah, I think it's a really great first step in showing the workers where I work at that, like, yeah, this isn't some kind of outside thing. Like this is a rank and file movement, and we're all involved with this. And I feel like it disproves some of the anti-union talking points that Amazon has been throwing at us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I really appreciate, what y'all are doing and trying to, like I mentioned earlier, in building your capacity even before, it's all official, before there's an election, before there's a contract. And I think that's something that workers are going to have to do, right? We're going to have to organize it and build our unions even before they're legally recognized. Before we get to an election, we have to act like a union. We have to organize our coworkers. We have to build our structures and capacity up for these monumental fights, because with Amazon, it really is a David and Goliath fight, right? So I'm glad to hear, Brandon, that the resolve is being strengthened and folks are not getting as discouraged as they could be. I know that Amazon's going to do everything they can to target folks. They're going to find little, excuses here and there, whatever they can get away with, right? And even stuff that they know they can't get away with long term, they're going to still try it. And so the more y'all can just look out for one another and support each other, lift each other up, is going to be really huge and keep those relationships and solidarity together.
Definitely. I feel like, right. And we've gotten a lot of support from the community here. I'm sure, other folks have talked about how a lot of the local unions have come out to support us.
Nice.
The local iron workers.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, in fact, those guys are they're the union that built our facility that we actually work in, and I'm not sure if anybody's spoken about this before, but one of those workers actually lost his life building that facility there.
Wow.
And Amazon and I believe the Iron Workers Union wanted to put a plaque up to commemorate him, and Amazon said that they thought that would be too depressing, so they didn't allow people to do that. So. I just wanted to put that out there, but we've gotten a lot of support from the local iron workers, and now we're getting support from the DHL Teamsters from across the street, who have been very inspiring to me personally. And yeah, man, I feel like that it's don't get me wrong, like, you know, this is an uphill battle. We're going up against like one of the biggest corporations in the world, but I feel like I feel like there's a lot of positive energy going in here, and we have a ton of community support, and I feel like we're on the right side of this. So, yeah, I'm in a good mood about it. So
fantastic.
Yeah, really appreciate that report, Brandon, man. That's great to hear. I think there's just a lot of positive energy in the labor movement overall that, you know, the more we see each other fighting, the more it inspires us to fight more, right? Yeah. And so I think that's great to hear that locals in the area are coming out and supporting y'all. That's what it's going to take. You know, we all have to pitch in and contribute where we can, so we can win these victories. So keep up the good work and definitely keep us posted.
Yeah, thanks for the call.
Thank you, fellow workers.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate the support.
Yeah.
Take care, brother.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.